thank you for joining us. My name is Glenn Bell, VP Strategic Partnerships here at NSA. We appreciate you taking the time to be with us for today's professional services webinar titled Why EDI Matters in 2026. This session is by Orderful. In today's webinar, we'll cover how modern API-based approach to EDI improves supply chain visibility and reduces technology risk. We'll also look at how it eliminates costly repetitive errors and speeds up new trading partner onboarding. Again, my name is Glenn Bell. My contact information is now on screen and will also be shared in chat. I'd like to pause for a couple of housekeeping notes, though. Our presenters may ask a question or two along the way, but we'll have a general Q&A at the end of the presentation, and I do ask you to remain self-muted during this session. I'd also like to highlight that there will be a special offer from Orderful. This offer is exclusive to the NSA community at the end of our presentation today. Now, I'd like to tell you a little bit about NSA for those of you joining us for the first time. NSA was founded back in 1984, and from day one, we focused exclusively on the wholesale distribution space. That focus has never changed. We're also the first dedicated Infor partner serving distributors, which shaped how we approach ERP and long-term client relationships. Our consulting team is full-time and deeply experienced in distribution. Many of our team members have spent decades working with SX Enterprise and Cloud Suite distribution. Beyond core ERP, much of our work lives in integrations, automation, and custom development. We extend Infor environments to support how distributors actually run their business day to day. That experience is what led us to NSA Plus. Over time, we saw the same gaps, inefficiencies, and manual work show up again and again across distributors. NSA Plus brings together more than 20 solutions like this one, designed to address those gaps and help our clients get more value out of their ERP investment well beyond go live. And with that, I'm pleased to introduce our presenters from Orderful. Jonathan Birch leads channel partnerships and spent over 8 years at Infor. During that time, he worked closely with manufacturers and distributors across the ecosystem on digital transformation initiatives and now leads Orderful's partnerships within the Infor ecosystem. Joining him is Alexa Bruick, a sales engineer with hands-on experience helping organizations apply technology to solve real-world operational challenges. With that, I'll turn it over to Jonathan and Alexa. Take it away.
Well, fantastic. Thank you, Glenn, so much for that introduction. And certainly, we're thrilled to be a part of the NSA Plus program in 2026 and getting to work with this wonderful group of customers in the Infor ecosystem. I know that for many people, they'll be catching this as a recording, and so a big thank you to you for checking out that recording, and certainly thank you to those who join our session today live. Looking forward to your questions. The biggest thing that I hope for anybody that's listening to this call is to walk away from our conversation with a really clear understanding of two things. One is, and this is probably obvious, right? Like, who is Orderful and what are we doing that's different in EDI? Second is, what kind of like from a tactical perspective can you take away back to your team to rethink the way that some of the challenges that you're experiencing today, and how EDI might be able to address some of those challenges. To give it something like really particular, or I should say specific, is we had a prospect come to us just a week ago. And the reason that they came to us is because they just recently lost a deal. And as we went through the conversation, what we learned is that they had actually been in a competitive sales cycle against one of our customers. And they work in the carrier space. And so for them, not only is it speed to respond to the request is an imperative thing for them to be successful, but it's also a speed in their capability to actually support their customer. Our customer was able to promise to be able to get live with that customer in less than a week, something that this prospect had no ability to be able to do, and have kind of ended up forfeiting their ability to win this business. And so they came to us to figure out, how are you doing this for your customer? We would like to do this for us. And so, I've had the privilege of being in this space for close to a decade, and I've gotten to talk to a lot of different leaders, particularly in operations and the IT side of the house. And like you fulfill a very unique thing in your business, which is solving the hardest problems in your company, oftentimes with the smallest teams and potentially the smallest budgets, right? Last year, there was a big, like I saw everywhere, like this mantra of doing more with less. And as everybody on this call probably knows, like that's just the daily mantra that just exists perpetually for you, right? You're tasked with solving these challenges and being scrappy in the way that you do that. And so when we think about technology, it's not just about solving that one-to-one thing, right? For our customer that I just referenced, right, we are solving their EDI needs, but because of our speed and the way that we approach it, it actually enables them to solve other things in their business. It helps them be more competitive in their marketplace. And as I'll highlight later on, it also helps some of our customers solve labor challenges that they're experiencing. It helps them optimize some of their operations. So when I say walk away today with kind of like a tactical idea, that's saying, hey, EDI, we can get that fixed, but what if we could do it faster? How does that actually help us solve other problems that we're experiencing in our business? So I would assume that many people are already pretty familiar with EDI, and that's because it's been around for a long time. There may be a question in your mind. Why is it that in 2018, after almost 50 years of this technology existing, did another company say, guess what? We need one more vendor in this space to help customers with their EDI requirements. Well, the simple thing is, and our founder, like he got his career started doing EDI implementations, and then he went and started a consultancy company to just focus on EDI. And he kept running into the same thing, which was it's not scalable, it's really complex, it's cumbersome. And that despite being something that was really mature, it just hadn't shifted that much. It hadn't really changed to adapt or adopt modern technologies. And so what we saw was just step after step, there was a custom process that would cause things to slow down in the process. And so when customers come to us, as they were then back in 2018, as they still are today, it's because they've been experiencing challenges with little visibility into what's actually happening inside of their EDI transactions. They're experiencing slow onboarding, right? A lot of our customers, their prior experience of onboarding a new trading partner is measured in weeks, if not months, of effort of back and forth. And finally, there are errors, right? Errors make sense kind of in that initial stage, but then for that to continue to persist after the fact, we talk to so many companies where they just view it as a cost of doing business. A couple weeks ago, I was talking to a CIO, and as we were kind of going through like their workflow today, he was sharing, we kind of came around the topic of chargebacks. Um, is often the result of either an operational issue in the message that went out, or it can be a direct result of an issue with the EDI message itself, right? And for them, because of the volume of trading partners that they're working with and the volume of orders that they have, it ended up actually being a really significant number for them, just their chargebacks. And it happened on such a recurring basis that they had to just actually create a dedicated line item of their operating expense on a yearly basis, just to pay off these chargebacks. I don't know about you, but I feel like in this year, as in all times, we're always trying to optimize as a business. But I feel like because of the particular pressures of increases in cost of good, increase of labor, or just the competitiveness that exists in the market today, having effectively like a hole in your pocket where change is constantly falling out just isn't economical anymore and needs to be addressed. And so Orderful's approach is to say, hey, like we don't need to accept the status quo. There doesn't need to be the situation where you don't have visibility. Things don't have to be slow, and you don't have to continue to kind of build out a whole budget just dedicated to chargebacks. We want to be able to solve those for you. So how are we doing this? I'm not going to read through this whole thing, but it all starts with we had to fundamentally rethink all the steps of the process, right? If we think back to that, there's the ERP integration, there's the management of business processes, there's the communication layer, there's the validation and the testing component that happens with your trading partner relationships, right? Each of those had to be reworked. And thankfully for us, by actually starting our company when we did in 2018, it allowed us to rethink all of those steps and actually leverage modern capabilities. And as we step into, the kind of this new era of, AI technology, whether at the agent level or at the generative level, it's actually allowed our team to rethink again, yet again, how can we continue to optimize and create a much faster experience for our customers? So kind of bringing this all home, right? Like, what is Orderful? What are you getting? Well, it's a full end-to-end product. It's the technology that is used for our customers that have thousands of trading partners, as well as a customer that only has one. We've optimized it in such a way that it's cost effective, but also highly performant to meet both ends of the requirement. So you that are listening on the call today or listen to the recording, you can have confidence that regardless of the number of trading partners you have, regardless of the number of transaction types, regardless of the volume of purchase orders or your specific situations, the technology is robust enough to support all of that while also being optimized for your business needs. The second component is we believe that there should be 100% visibility, whether it's our managed service team supporting you across your EDI journey with your customers, or you take it fully in-house. You should be able to have full visibility in that whole process. Even for NSA, who might be supporting you in this process, should have full access to understand where are we at with our trading partners? Where are we at with our transactions? What was that issue? Not only to be able to see it, but to actually resolve it in real time so that you can continue to manage those relationships with your customers and your suppliers. And ultimately, that all has to be in a product experience that is modern, but is also deep, right? We think about some of you have extensive X12 experience, you know the ins and outs of EDI, and you want to have a robust tool that can meet your level of expertise. But at the same time, many of our customers, they don't even, when they came to us, they had no idea what EDI is. They're just looking for a way to be able to get live with their trading partner. And so we focused on building a product that is on one level simple enough for regardless of where you're at in your experience to be able to go in and successfully do the job that you're trying to do, while at the same time providing a rich enterprise level capability. Kind of in closing here, like bringing it home, all of our customers have different journeys. They serve in different industries and different different markets. All of them, thought that they just had the issue of EDI. They wanted to come to us because they wanted a new EDI solution, and maybe it was one of those things, right? Lack of visibility, maybe slow onboarding processes. They wanted to have fewer errors. But what they were able to identify was that by having a much faster experience through the approach that Orderful takes, it actually helped them solve other challenges that they were experiencing in their business. Right? I think about a company like KPX. They had a very legacy system in place. They had they have a large volume of trading partners. They had a huge staff in place, but they were starting to see a lot of attrition where people were leaving the business with institutional knowledge. And with that employee turnover, as they were bringing in new hires, those new hires had no idea what EDI was. And they were struggling to try to train them on these complex processes and these nearly 100 rules that they had written and built out over decades to support their experience. Not only were those rules hard for their new employees to understand, but they were also causing them as a company to have bad customer experiences. By moving to Orderful, they were not only able to have a fast, seamless experience for their customers, but also have something that their team could grow with and grow into. But other customers have different realities, right? Maybe they can't afford, or maybe some of our customers like KBX have big teams. Other customers, they're optimizing their staff today. And so I think about in the case of like Hirschbach, right? They previously had a team of 4 individuals managing 150 trading partners. But it just didn't make sense anymore for their business. They needed to optimize that. Well, again, by having something that was fast, that automates, and that is easy to use and gives full visibility, they were actually able to offload all of that into just one role. So kind of regardless as you think about your business, whether it's changes in your labor, maybe you're trying to pursue new customers, but finding it difficult to be able to onboard in a timely manner to compete within your respective market. Maybe that's identifying new suppliers, maybe it's identifying new customers, or you're just looking for areas where you can save money within your business. EDI doesn't just have to be the simple check the box, I can do EDI. having something that's fast and modern like Orderful actually enables you to solve some of these other real business challenges that we all experience. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague Alexa. We're actually going to get to go into the product. I love seeing our product demoed, and so with that, I'll turn it over to you.
Perfect. Thanks so much. We are swapping screen shares here, but looking at the Welcome to Orderful screen. So as we walk through the platform now, we're going to take everything that Jonathan just talked us through and put it into practice. In the next couple minutes together, we're going to walk through what it looks like to onboard a trading partner, how Orderful at a very high level approaches the integration, and how that differs from other EDI providers in the space. And then the more like user experience, day-to-day visibility, and how we're providing all of your transactions for you in multiple different ways. So as we kind of use that as our framework here, where we're going to start is with establishing the relationship between us and our trading partners. So today we're going to assume that we need to trade EDI with Home Depot. Now in Orderful, we're going to establish the relationship between us and Home Depot through this idea of a trade request. Now, you'll notice that I have an import function. So maybe when I get started, I want to import a CSV spreadsheet for my 50 trading partners all at once. I can certainly do that. But I can also go one by one. And as I start typing in who my trading partner is, again, Home Depot today, we're able to see the different programs that Home Depot operates. So maybe I'm trading with Home Depot Pro. Maybe it's direct to the stores or that dropship program. So based on which division of Home Depot I'm specifically doing business with, I can go ahead and choose them. We'll just assume it's this one here. Now you're able to say that this is maybe a new partnership for you, or you're migrating off of a different EDI solution and onto Orderful. And then this one has been pre-selected for us. To Orderful, this is saying that I am following Home Depot's EDI guidelines. They have dictated the format, the specifications, the testing scenarios that I have to follow if I want to do business with them. Now, Orderful does support both being a leader and a follower, so just know that we've got you covered for any one of those trading scenarios. And then here, you're able to throw in your point of contact that you have at Home Depot, and then create that trade request. So again, this process is simply just establishing like the overall partnership, the overall relationship between you and that trading partner in the Orderful platform. Now, this partnerships view, I like to think of as kind of like my project management view, especially if I'm working through a migration from different EDI providers or have a lot of trading partners that I'm actively onboarding with. What we see on this screen is this is me. These are my trading partners. And then this progress bar is where that onboarding project is. Maybe I'm still working through some setup steps. Maybe I'm actively testing with them. Or once I've completed testing, we would see this change over to live. You'll also see that we're pointing out what the next task is. We can easily tell if I have the action that needs to be done, or if it's my trading partner that we're actually waiting on to do the next part in this process. So that's the first thing, establishing those relationships between you and your trading partners. But now we need to integrate and start talking about how this data is going to start to flow. So Orderful approaches the integration at the transaction level basis. That's important to you because we don't care at the integration level if you're working with one trading partner or 50 trading partners. What Orderful provides is this one simple schema for, in this case, my 850. So I'm going to integrate this 850 purchase order to my system of record just once, according to this simple schema. Behind the scenes, Orderful is going to handle all of the complexity, all of the nuance that we know that our trading partners have. If I'm working with like Home Depot, Target, and Walmart, they all require an 850, but there's a level of nuance across all of those 850s, or the 810 invoice, or that 856 ASN. So Orderful is going to take this simple schema that we send Orderful, transform that into the structurally compliant X12 transaction that the trading partner on the other side is expecting to receive. So this is where, again, like our speed to go live comes into play, that time to value. We're able to allow you to integrate faster, go live faster with your trading partners. And we'll also see that come to life here as we start looking at some actual transactions within the Orderful UI. So this is our transaction dashboard. What we see on our screen is all of your transactions, inbound and outbound, across all of your trading partners. You've got filters that you can leverage. So if you have business users that maybe own the specific relationship with one of your trading partners, they could filter this dashboard through that. Or maybe the finance team wants access into all of the 810 invoices. They would be able to do that as well. But when we actually click in to this 810 invoice that I am sending out the door here to my retailer, we see a human readable, printable version of that 810 invoice. So we provide you this nice print view. You can also see the data view if you want. So again, this goes back to that simple schema. This is what is sent from your system of record to Orderful. Behind the scenes, we take this simple schema you see here, and we are transforming it to the structurally compliant X12 transaction. That's what's on your right side of the screen. And that's what we're delivering out the door to each one of your trading partners. Now, you'll also notice we are tracking validation, delivery, and acknowledgement for every single transaction. Only the transactions that pass the validation check will be delivered. So Jonathan touched on chargebacks earlier. So that's how Orderful can help you eliminate those EDI related chargebacks because of that validation that we've built into our product. If you try to send Orderful information that we cannot transform into a structurally compliant transaction, we fail that transaction and let you know so that you can fix those errors, send us that correct payload so that we can deliver that structurally compliant transaction. Now, while we're here looking at this transaction, another thing I wanted to point out in regards to just overall visibility is this audit log. So Orderful is tracking where we deliver transactions to, when we delivered it, as well as when we received those 997 acknowledgements back from your trading partners. So complete visibility from the end-to-end lifecycle of this transaction. And you can even reprocess and resend transactions straight from this dashboard, or even in bulk from this transaction dashboard if you would need to. Couple other things just to note. They're in our settings. They're maybe not the most exciting to look at, but Orderful does support unlimited users. We have role-based access controls that can be assigned to those users. So based on their job responsibilities, they can have the access to the Orderful platform that they need. Now, I mentioned, that we flag invalid transactions and we stop delivery of those transactions. So not only do we return that invalid response back to you at the API level, we also have email notifications that can be set up. So invalid transactions, failures on delivery, even changes on that relationship level of the setup to testing to go live relationship, multiple different trigger events that you can subscribe for those email notifications. And again, that's set up on the user level. Now, really like the last big piece to point out here is this first box. So in EDI, there's this need for communication channels. Orderful needs to be able to send EDI transactions to those trading partners of yours through either AS2, SFTP, or VAN. And that is all infrastructure that Orderful has supported out of the box. So you don't have to worry about what your trading partners require or having to maintain that infrastructure, even maintaining AS2 certificates. Those are all activities that Orderful takes on for you on your behalf, allowing you to say yes to those trading partners when they ask if you're EDI compliant. So at a high level, that was what I wanted to walk through to get us started into this conversation. But again, we touched on the overall like trading partner onboarding process, how Orderful approaches integration, as well as then that day-to-day visibility and control into your EDI ecosystem, especially as you continue to scale and add trading partners.
Awesome. Thank you, Alexa. Appreciate that. And now that takes us to our live Q&A. And as you can give you a moment to think about your questions, as Glenn mentioned at the top of the call, one of the things that we wanted to come in and offer as a part of the announcement of our NSA Plus program partnership is that we also wanted to extend something that was meaningful to the NSA customers. And so one of the things you may have noticed, or I certainly already spoke to, is that Orderful is built as a product to be full self-service. But we also recognize that many of our customers are interested in having assistance, maybe through just the initial onboarding process, or maybe through the whole life cycle of managing their EDI. And that could be for a variety of reasons. And so Orderful does offer an onboarding, professional services component to work alongside directly NSA as we're establishing the integration. And so for anyone that's on this call that's interested and as we get down the journey and actually pursue working together, you can know in confidence that your first 5 trading partners will be fully covered by Orderful in the support of that initial stage of going live with your trading partners. So more details to come. We can obviously get into that in the matter of conversation, but happy to be able to offer this to any of our listeners today in the NSA family. So with that, would love to hear any questions. You can feel free to drop them in the chat, or you can come off mute, and happy to take those.
Yes, and thank you both for that fantastic walkthrough. It's great to see that EDI doesn't have to be as hard as it's traditionally been. And you certainly shown us how that can improve. So that's great. As mentioned, if you do have any questions, please do put them in chat. In the meantime, I do have one I'd kind of like to run by you as well, which is what kind of transaction types can this support?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. Alexa, you want to jump on that one?
Yeah, certainly. So Orderful supports any X12 as well as EDIFACT transaction. Those are 2 EDI standards. We see X12 used mostly in the North American space, and then EDIFACT used elsewhere in the world. So EDI covers, retail to transportation to logistics to even healthcare. So we covered the wide breadth of those transactions across each one of those standards.
Okay. What happens when you have a trading partner that isn't in your network?
Yeah, great question. So that trade request process where we typed in Home Depot and it magically populated for us, if we typed in Home Depot and nothing was there, that would mean that that trading partner was not in Orderful's network. So we need really 3 pieces of information. We need their name, their ISA ID, and then their EDI guidelines. Those guidelines, again, are like PDFs, Word docs. It's just the specifications for each one of the EDI transactions that they expect you to either send or receive. Once you provide that to us, we digitize them and add that trading partner to our network within 2 business days. So really quick time to add them to network, especially comparatively across the EDI landscape.
Okay. Does it have to be integrated?
Great question. It does not. So what I showed and walked us through today is our integrated EDI solution. Now, maybe you're just getting started with EDI, low volume of orders, or maybe you are just kind of upgrading into like a new system of record for the first time. We also have a web EDI solution that is more a manual web form based product. It allows you to still receive inbound those 850 purchase orders from Home Depot. But then when you're trying to send that invoice or that shipping notice, it happens through you manually filling out a web form. That Orderful, again, handles the complexity. We transform that back to the X12 message that Home Depot would be expecting. So it's a perfect way to like enter EDI without having to commit to the full integration.
Okay. And thank you for going through that offer as well. That was fantastic. It looks like it has very strong ROI. With that in mind, how does your pricing work?
Yeah, I could take that one. So we try to make it as predictable and as easy to kind of model out for your business as possible. So the first component is going to be a platform fee. So everything that you just saw, that's going to include an unlimited number of transactions. It's going to include transaction types, your transaction volume, the communication channels that we talked about, as well as a number of unlimited users, and several other things that we didn't quite have time to touch on today. So it'd be the monthly platform fee. And then the only other additional fee will be for trading partners. So we charge on a per trading partner basis. And just to give you some context, the platform fee starts at $1,000 a month, so it's $12,000 a year. And our trading partners start at $100 a month or $1,200 a year per trading partner.
Great. I'm going to just give it a couple of seconds. If there's any other questions, please go ahead, drop them in chat or send them along. With that, though, we'll start to move towards a close. So I'll give it just a couple more seconds, but I think we've kind of rolled through it. So I guess I'll just say that I'd like to thank everyone for joining us. And thank you, Jonathan and Alexa, for this fantastic presentation. Jonathan and I both remain available with our contact information. If you have any further questions, do please reach out. Everyone in the session is going to get a copy of the recording, and everyone who registered for this is going to get a copy of the recording as well. So with that, I'm going to say that's a wrap, and I'll thank you again and wish you a great rest of your day.
All right. Thank you, Glenn, and thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye.